We're back after the break with the former Leinster and Connacht player Mike McCarthy for a special forwards breakdown of Ireland's brilliant tour win in New Zealand. First, here's Matt Williams paying tribute to the job that Andy Farrell has done as head coach.
Farrell took over after that World Cup and was a disciple of Joe Schmidt and tried to clone what Joe had done. And Joe's a great coach. I'm not trying to talk Joe down. I'm just trying to say what I see. And for the next 12 months, Ireland didn't progress. And Farrell was not showing, in my opinion, the leadership qualities and the strategic qualities that a successful head coach at international level needs to go, with the talent at his disposal. He had a talented team. In that summer, he changed. And they adopted a ground-up philosophy. And that was based on how Leinster were playing. And he changed his selection policy to have Leinster players in it. And his structure that Keith has spoken about so correctly was basically not the same, but almost a Leinster structure that empowered decision makers within that structure to make good decisions, including the forwards taking the ball forward. How often have we seen our Irish forward taking forward and just tipping inside or outside, leading to a break? They can make those decisions. And that has struck a chord with the players. And the players believe in the system, they believe in the coach, and that started in November 21 and extended right through. And apart from an hour against France and the first test in Auckland, the system that Farrell's put in place has grown and has been very, very effective. There's no guarantees every week in rugby you're going to win, and there's no guarantees that this great performance is going to deliver a great performance in the World Cup. That's not how rugby works. But Farrell has grown and shown that he can lead. He's got a great plan. He's hired great people around him like Paul, and Paul has done a phenomenal job. And that has been handed off onto the players, who he's also empowered after he's educated and aligned them. And this is the creation of what can occur. Now, if we look back at history, the last trip to do this was the Wallabies in 1986. It's my generation of player. Two of my club mates were in that team, Steve Tyman and Brett Patworth. They then didn't evolve, went out the next year in the World Cup, were completely up themselves, didn't think they had to change, and they got bundled out in one of the greatest games of all time by France in the semi-finals. So the evolution and the change that Woody spoke about, to me, that's crucial. I heard Muppets start telling me, they peaked a year too early. I've never heard such rubbish in my life. It's just garbage. Like, we're not an Olympic sport. We don't try and peak every 4 years. It just doesn't happen. That's not how it works. But this Irish team is in a great place.
OTB AM on OTB Sports Radio, Ireland's first and only sports radio station.
This summer, we're bringing you double Koi gig.
I thought that was going to be a much tighter game.
I cannot tell you the audible gasps that there were in the press box yesterday. They looked as stunned as the team on the pitch did.
I thought that they were stronger than that. I thought that they were tactically more aware than that.
For the best insight and analysis from this summer's Euros, subscribe to the Koi Gig Pod on the OTB Sports app now.
OTB AM
with Gillette. Get into your flow with the new Gillette Labs Razor with exfoliating bar.
Mike McCarthy, good morning to you. How are you?
Morning, gents. Good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. That wasn't bad at the weekend, was it?
Wow, yeah, it was amazing, wasn't it? You know, to back up that second test performance was incredible. And, you know, what I loved about it was just that, you know, the guys weren't happy having just, you know, won the second test, creating history. They went on during the week. They obviously didn't over-celebrate. They went out and attacked it. And, you know, it was just incredible. And it was laid upon a bedrock of kind of, you know, aggression, set-piece foundation. Great to see us scoring tries from the maul, but also multi-phase as well. You know, we were disciplined, we were physical, we were aggressive, real nastiness. We had that little dip after half time where we started to kind of go a bit high in the tackle, slip off a few tackles, but, you know, that mindset to stay in the game, and especially when it got back to within 3 points, to go on and finish the game out. Yeah, just truly incredible, and lovely to see all the scenes of the guys getting back to the airport, being greeted by their families and their kids, and you know, certainly special memories for the supporters, special memories for the players and coaches, and yeah, just truly incredible, wasn't it?
And great to see your slogan on a flag in the stands as well. The morning of the game,
yeah.
Brodie Retallick is a poor man's Devon Toner. I was like, Mike McCarthy has that phrase tattooed somewhere on his body, I presume.
I actually made that flag. So you wouldn't believe how many people sent me that link. It was crazy. So it was pretty funny. And another highlight for me was Bundy Akey stealing a bit of chicken out of the box. But fantastic. I think he might get cited for that. But no, all good.
Oh, it looked like they were having a good night anyway, and well deserved. We want to get your view on the second rows. Like, Retallick and Whitelock won a World Cup and were generally considered to be the greatest second row partnership since the South African great second row partnership of Bakkies and Victor Matfield. And you can see why. Like, they put together an incredible body of work. But granted, we didn't see them their full peak of their powers for a full 80 minutes. Over the 3 tests, but they were there for a large portion of the game, and James Ryan looked like he was back to his very best against them.
Yeah, exactly. And look, there's no more kind of test experience and quality than that New Zealand partnership in the second row. But you have to be honest, they were completely outplayed. Now that comes down partly to, New Zealand, we're so used to New Zealand being this efficient machine and everyone being a cog in the wheel and doing their job effectively. And I suppose, New Zealand looked like it's been spoken about, a team that, they're not playing the way they have played. It's probably not the same All Blacks that we've seen before, but they just weren't playing with any momentum and, probably a lack of urgency. And, just looked like they weren't all on the same page as we're used to seeing them. So, the Irish guys, James Ryan and Tyg Byrne were absolutely incredible. Certainly, Tyg Byrne, he's not the biggest for the second row. And, for me, going forward, if we were playing a France or an England or a South Africa in the future, I'd probably put Henderson in the second row and accommodate Tyg Byrne in the back row somewhere. But I mean, for this game, that second row pairing partnership was phenomenal. They're mobile, their work rate's absolutely incredible. Tyg Byrne over the ball, what did he have? 3 turnovers. And the other thing I love about it is with this pack is that you've got 5 forwards, the 2 second rows and the back row. All of them are efficient line-out jumpers. We've seen before, as to use as an example, CJ Standers, was a big lump, powerful, but he was a lot harder to lift and get up in the line-out. Now you've got 5 forwards who are agile, dynamic. You can throw them up really quickly, dynamically, and they're causing absolute havoc in the second row in terms of stealing ball, disrupting New Zealand ball. And we know how efficient New Zealand have been off that first phase attack and, winning quick line-out, getting to the line-out quickly, getting the ball thrown in. And Ireland were just really efficient, getting to the mark early, being set, and then being able to kind of adjust and move and getting pods in the air. Really, really brilliant stuff.
Kieran Treadwell's got a lot of pop after this tour as well. Essentially has come from nowhere really to be now all of a sudden totally acceptable as our third lock off the bench if we need him.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic tour and his stock's certainly gone up massively. After the disappointment of starting the first kind of test and a Maori test with 2 losses, kind of shows the mindset and the belief and where that kind of mindset's come from years gone by in terms of guys didn't panic, they stayed strong, they believed, and great work by the coaches to go on, because that would have been a dark place at that first kind of week, 10 days of the tour with the 2 losses, not getting that momentum, not getting off to a good start. But Farrell spoke about, I think, after that first Maori game, some guys will play themselves out. The squad sometimes will go on to have a great future with Ireland. And Kieran Treadwell, for someone who I think he's third choice at Ulster, he's come, he's taken his opportunity, he's taken his chance. He's a big lump, but he's mobile, great at set piece, great for scrummaging at that tight head position, but he's mobile, he's good, he's easy to get up in the line out. His calling of lineouts, which I don't think he does too much for Ulster. Calling the lineouts there was great to see, and he featured in every game. What I love about him as well is his work rate, and he's willing to put his hands up, and he goes looking for the ball. He carries hard, he pumps the legs, and he's got a great work rate, and he carries really well.
Can I ask you? We suggested that maybe you might take a look at picking like a joint pack between Ireland and New Zealand, and to just get a sense of where we are versus New Zealand at the moment. I feel like we're building a rod for our own back with the next 4 minutes of radio that we're about to make. Give me your combined 1 to 8 from that Ireland versus New Zealand 3-test series.
Yeah, so look, to be honest here, no surprises. I think you were looking for, a few changes, and, I don't want to just pay it lip service, but genuinely that pack that finished is what I would pick as a combined pack after certainly after the last 2 tests. The only change I probably have, not a change, is I'd have Caelan Doris starting at 8. He was absolutely incredible for the whole series, but for the All Blacks, it felt like he was fighting a bit of a lone battle. But Ardie Savea, he was incredible all night. I think 57 meters. He had from 19 carries, 5 defenders beaten, 3 offloads, 9 tackles. He was part of that resurgence after half time when he scored, when he wriggled over. Shortly followed by another try by the All Blacks after. So, for me, I'd go with the same pack that started the game, and the only it wouldn't be a change, but I'd have Ardie Savea alongside Caelan Doris, who was absolutely phenomenal. But the foundation Ireland gave the team from the first minute, that we talk about mindset, that first try by Josh van der Flier, not taking the 3 points, kicking to the corner, getting that maul going, getting it, that length, that dynamism, that go forward, low body positions, fighting at the front. And that really set the tone. We started so well in all 3 tests, scoring very early. That pack, that front row, potentially a bit of work to do in the scrum going forward. But in terms of the physicality and the line out, the maul, New Zealand just couldn't contain the Irish pack. And it was brilliant. Great stuff.
So neither Whitelock or Italic come into your thinking?
Well, based on those last 2 games, I know they're amazing players, but I suppose that shows the kind of the standard Ireland have set in these last 2 games and how well they've played. I mean, can you say you'd start them after that performance? I certainly couldn't. Look, I know the quality and the experience and the number of caps they've got, but those 2 lads were absolutely phenomenal in terms of being a nuisance at the breakdown, turning the ball over. Ty Byrne, 3 turnovers at the breakdown, a line-out steal, 18 tackles. You couldn't ask for a better performance. And then looking forward further down the line, you've got Ian Henderson to come back, Kieran Treadwell's emergence after, I suppose, Quinn Roux moved on, and not Bundy Aki, Alton Delan's moved to France. We're in a really good place. Front row were brilliant, and the back row, Josh van der Flier, all-round display. I think he's made 62 tackles and 1 miss over the 3 test matches. Just the fitness levels, the efficiency, the dynamism, the ability to get back up on their feet and keep offering themselves, coming onto the ball at pace.
Josh van der Flier is in the running for Player of the Year, isn't he? For World Player of the Year.
Yeah. I mean, he has to be. He's just relentless. He's just an absolute machine. The fitness levels, as I say, just the Richie McCaw-esque ability to kind of take knocks and bangs and get back on his feet, keep going. It's just relentless. It's just in your face. The line speed he brings in defence, getting up off the line, the pest, the nuisance he is at the breakdown, his ball carrying, coming on, which is something actually I think Stuart Lancaster started when he first came to Leinster, and it's rippled into all the other provinces, is, those 3-man setups off 9 or 10. I think in the past we've been guilty of catching the ball static and trying to get going from there. You see now everyone's animated, everyone's got their hands up, everyone's coming onto the ball at pace, something that you've seen Saracens do over the years. And, that's something that Stuart Lancaster, I know that's for Leinster, but I think it's something that's rippled into Ireland's play. That's something, I remember back in 2017, Stuart Lancaster used to show clips of Saracens doing that. Not just standing in that 3-man pod setup, standing still, catching the ball, then trying to generate momentum. Guys are animated, they're coming onto the ball at pace. And the other thing I've loved, which has been a real theme over, I think since Farrell came in and Paul O'Connell came in to do the forwards, is the footwork. And that's, I suppose, summed up by Dan Sheehan, the footwork pre-contact, not running just straight and hard at bodies. We do that at times, but our ability to catch the ball, a little bit of footwork just pre-contact, and to make it a soap tackle by the All Blacks. It's not a dominant tackle because they're not running straight. They're running hard. A little bit of footwork. They're getting arms tackles. They're winning those inches, getting that momentum, and it's that ripple effect. Just gives Ireland that momentum, that go forward, which makes life so much easier for everyone else to play off.
Do you think this Ireland?
Sorry, I'm just having a drink. I'm getting too excited, aren't I?
But I was actually just going to ask this joint Ireland-New Zealand pack. How would it fare against a South Africa pack or a France pack?
Yeah, so look, obviously we've been tested there against arguably the best side in the world. We've created history. Created history twice, I suppose. But look, at Andy Farrell, I think, has beaten the All Blacks five times. Once with England, once with the Lions, 3 times with Ireland. So, he brings that own mental toughness and mindset into the camp, and we've shown we can beat the All Blacks, and it's not a fluke. It's we're generally good enough, and all this talk of peaking before the World Cup, it's hopefully that's not the case, and I don't think you can read too much into it. But the last World Cup, I think we were number 1 year out from the World Cup, and the only really real concerns for me is going forward to the next World Cup is keeping a 37-year-old fly half who's been absolutely phenomenal, and he's incredible, isn't he? His ability, his physicality, and the way he controls the game, keeping him fit, because we still don't seem to have any backup plan. It's been great to see Cian Frawley come in and have a great second test against the Maoris. Be interesting to see what happens with Leinster going forward in terms of if he gets game time there and how he progresses. Harry Burns, it's been frustrating with all the injuries. He hasn't emerged. Jack Carty out injured. So it's a worry. So we've got to keep him fit. And the other kind of concern is we've got great strength and depth. Great, you look at Jack Conan, a Lion on the bench, Cian Healy on the bench. But, that game, our 2 props played 70 minutes. That doesn't really happen in Test match rugby anymore. So, have we got that depth and strength that we need going into the World Cup? We need to keep Porter and Tyg Furlong fit, obviously. But, they can't be playing 70 minutes, leading up to the World Cup.
No, definitely.
I'm sorry. I am getting very excited, honey, because I have not answered your question, but here I'm going to answer it now. You asked if we're playing the kind of likes of South Africa, and I suppose, that they're completely different games. They're not played as a fast pace as playing against the All Blacks. I suppose England, France, South Africa, they're much bigger men. So it's a real test of upfront in terms of your set piece. And I think there is a little bit work to do in the scrum. It progressed as we went through the tournament. But, for me, that's why I mentioned before, if I was making any changes specific to those games, it would probably be, it's been great to see Dan Sheehan come in and get game time. But, probably looking at for those games, Ronan Kelleher coming in to hooker position, Ian Henderson coming into the second row, and, based on whoever's playing the best out of Peter Romani and Tyg Byrne, for that 6th position, they're probably the only kind of changes I consider when you're coming up against those 3 bigger, heavier kind of forward packs.
All right, Mike, well, unfortunately we're out of time, but that was great. Thanks a million.
Oh, you're joking me. I had loads more to say.
What else? Quick, I'll give you 10 seconds.
No, that's it. To sum up, very exciting. I've had a great time watching the 3 tests. I hope you have too. Hit 2, 3, 4, yes, 2, 3, 4. Squeeze!
Good stuff.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. Bye.
Take care. That's Mike McCarthy there. Do you think he did he come up with you're just a shit Devon Toner?
Oh, definitely. Mike McCarthy is the president on Uachtaráin of the Devon Toner fan club.